Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Well, hey, Jen.
Hey, Dave.
It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Welcome back to the show. It is episode 217 of the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Jen and I are here. And, of course, the lovely Moana Mom, a.k.a. our Quasi producer. That would be Miss Heather. Heather, back from a very exciting weekend, which we'll talk about that in just a second for a long time. Hi, Heather.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Now, this show is a little bit different this week. Before we get to that, though, Jen, how did you Disney this week?
Oh, gosh. I Disneyed this week by, I've been wearing a lot of Disney shirts in celebration of our upcoming topic and, of course, drinking from my Disney mugs. But today I'm wearing mine. Back up.
Nice.
I love this shirt.
I like the
It's
color on
bright
that shirt.
blue and
Looks
gold.
good on you.
Isn't it
Color looks
fun?
good. So,
It's got the castle. It's like circa 1971. I'm like, yeah, and it's sparkly.
Sparkly.
So it's fun.
because I know how Heather Disneyed this week, I will say that I am Disneying right now by wearing my Skyliner shirt right here, of course, in anticipation of our conversations, which the Skyliner never actually comes up in our conversation at any point in time, but still,
Right.
I love the Skyliner. My kid has been back in school for 3 days, and he wears Disney shirts just about every day. I let him pick the shirt out that he wants to wear. Mom likes to go in and grab his clothes and pick it. I'm like, what shirt do you want to wear? Disney. Which one? Epcot or Yoda or whatever. So he's been wearing Disney shirts every day because his teacher's like, he must love Disney. Yes, he does. So that's always fun. Heather, how did you Disney this week, pray tell?
I Disneyed this week because I just got back from D23
Yes, you did.
and I met Tony Baxter.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, meeting Tony Baxter is amazing. That's awesome. So yeah, we'll talk about when we're gonna get him on the show because I know you guys exchanged numbers, which is great. We'll get there.
I got him right there in my cell.
So this is somewhat of a special show because, of course, we have a YouTube show called Traveling with the Stars where a lot of the travel agents from Upon a Star will come on and we'll talk about different topics and stuff. But this, of course, everybody's a buzz about D23 and all the announcements that happen. So we are kind of sharing the shows, this show and that show, kind of the main audio. We did want to come in and give it a quick introduction. You're also going to hear, and if you watch the YouTube, see KylaKylaKyla, who's on with us. She could not be here with the intro, but she's coming on with us as well. So we're going to get to that because it's kind of a longer episode because we go through everything D23 in terms of all the park stuff and everything.
The parks experiences.
The experience showcases, they call it. It's park panel. That's what everybody calls it. And so we're going to talk about all the stuff happening at the parks and a great discussion, opinions on what they did right, maybe some misses, things like that. But we'll get to that right now.
Back with the original panel, actually. This was our very first episode last year at about this time, talking about Destination D and all of the announcements that came out at that point.
And all of the disappointing announcements that came out at that point. Yeah.
Well, I think it's just disappointing that we didn't get the announcements we wanted, but we were also saying next year is D23. It's probably going to be a really big one. So here we are. This is a full year later. And Heather, the Moana Mom, is just literally at D23. Like watching it through her social media was amazing.
So cool.
Yes.
It was really cool. It was so amazing. So, okay.
I still haven't slept.
You said
for YouTubers, these bags under my eyes are legit.
No, she literally was delayed getting out of Vegas to come home. Like she had to lay over in Vegas. She was texting us. So how was it though, Heather? What was the experience like with it?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I don't know still how to put it into words because there's two different sides to D23. And I think that a lot of people that watch it on social media, like when you see your influencers and you see things, they're posting things and everybody thinks that there's it's all in the same space and it's not. It's two completely different things. There's the expo side of it. And then this year, for the first time ever, there was the Honda side of it. Sign me up for the Honda side 24/7. I need it every day in my life. The vibe, the crowd, everything, it was magical. It was magical. I still can't believe it happened.
Oh. And you were in the Honda Center every single day. You had like all 3 days. You got to go. So
we were like right next to the stage. So we got to see, like, pan out to see how many people were there. And you think like 12,000 people, the average, there's like what, 50,000 in a Disney park. And you're just like, oh, 12,000 people isn't that many. But then when you scan like the center, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just here with like 12,000 of like my closest Disney fan friends. It was bananas. Bananas.
Well, and I feel like everything that I saw between you posting, Disney Parks blog, like all of the different locations I was following, it was so incredible how they introduced things, like how they just, did all of the announcements or whatever showcases, like the little robot-y thing. What was that little robot? The Imagineering one.
The little they're so cute.
The little droids.
Listen, I went to vacation in the Imagineering Pavilion.
Of course.
Like, I made friends with Imagineers, and I was just like, hey, invite me down anytime you want to. I live right down the road.
And
my daughter wants to be one, so I just need to bring Kylie. Like,
yes,
just oh my gosh, it was amazing. So of course today, because we will be able to talk about these announcements for actually ever. Yes, there were a lot of entertainment announcements. Okay, movies, Marvel, and like Mufasa, and
Broadway.
Broadway.
Fantastic Four.
Yep, which David and I talked about last week on the Mainstream Electrical podcast. We talked a little bit about Fantastic Four. So tons of announcements coming out of there. We don't have time to focus on that.
No.
Because we're going to focus on the parks panel. Can we first of all talk about the introduction to the parks panel with Putty?
So cool. Did you guys listen to everything he was saying? Like, I was dying. I was just
I think you should set it up first. I think for people who don't know what we're talking about at all.
Sure.
Basically, if you go to Soarin', you go to Epcot.
Yeah.
Patrick Warburton played Putty on Seinfeld. He's also in Impersonate Group or whatever. So you know the face, you know the voice.
Kronk.
He's in Family Guy, Kronk, whatever. And so he comes out for Soarin'. He's like, attention, you whatever. And he does a great little spiel that's now iconic. Yeah. People know it. People love it, whatever. Absolutely. He comes out via video at the beginning. And I watched the entire live stream. It was a 3-hour thing. It was a lot longer than I think anybody thought it was going to be.
Long.
So I watched the entire live stream as well. So while I wasn't there, unfortunately, like Heather, I still was able to catch it. And so Putty comes out video wise in the same Soarin' outfit, and he goes to the Soarin' spiel, but except he caters it to Disney D23. Yeah. And he even makes jokes about, like, he's looking at his notepad going, okay, frozen. He makes jokes all the way through, and he takes little pot shots here and there, which was hilarious. And he kind of kicked the whole thing off. But that's actually what you were going to say, Jen, when he said at the beginning.
Well, yeah, it was just, but like whatever he was like, in the real spiel, as hats, cameras, glasses,
like churros, like lounge flies, and
and
he had the same guys.
And the thing,
people sitting on the ride that were like in the original, you know what I mean, like with the Mickey ear guy.
And the thing is, it was a theme throughout the entire show that they were making fun of us as fans, and they were making fun of like themselves for things that we complain about. It would come out just like every other one, and everybody would bust out laughing because
the Deadpool number was on point.
The Deadpool number is probably now one of my favorite things that Disney has done in my life.
I'm assuming that none of the three of you have seen Deadpool and Wolverine, but in that movie, he takes shots at Disney. He does. And it's not, there's nothing mean about it, but it's stuff that we all know, including the movies. Like, they basically make a joke about how the multiverse is not working. Nobody understands it. Why do we keep doing it? I mean, basically, like, this is not working. So let's do something else. Yep. And so when he comes out on stage, he does the same thing which I put in my stories. I'm like, we're watching Deadpool talk to Josh tomorrow on stage at D23. This is the most surreal thing I've seen in a long time. And he does this whole number, like you said, about Disney taking nothing mean about it, but just recognizing the fact that we all complain and but Disney also brings a lot of it upon themselves about what they do and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it was hilarious.
I think it's nice that they don't have to take themselves so seriously.
Right.
Yes.
And they realize that they have faults. Do you know what I mean? And they realize that all of us are a bunch of whining babies too.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
And
Which we'll
Disney
do later on
fans,
in the show.
We will discuss
all three of us.
We'll discuss
As we
all of us.
dissect every move that they announce.
Yes.
Exactly.
So after that opening, then they did like this thing where they were like taking you through like each of the parks, and they would just like announce it so that you were like seeing it, whatever.
So cool. Yeah.
And then when it pans down, because you're not, first of all, if you didn't watch the live stream and you're not seeing snippets online, there is a full orchestra. We walk in and I was like, there's a full orchestra.
Yep.
Like they're gonna play us into all this magic.
The opening
tonight.
was gorgeous. The opening graphics,
It
park
was
by park, it was
stunning.
beautiful.
It was stunning. And then it scans down and there is which I would like to call him the president of all fans, Mr. John Stamos.
Yep.
That 100%. I think
singing.
we can all agree
We love
with
him.
John Stamos. Yeah,
Yes.
we love him. If you don't love John Stamos, I don't understand.
I mean,
you.
he was the
don't.
drummer for the Beach Boys, which is probably how most people know him during the Kokomo era of late 80s. I'm just saying that's probably how most people know him. Just saying.
And the fact that he referenced, he was like, I'm going to take my Uncle Jesse jacket off now. And everybody's like, whoa! But like, I mean, he's a super fan. Like he owns the original Disneyland sign. Like he is a super fan. And he got emotional at the one part. Like when he was talking, he's like, and if you would have told myself that one day, and his voice starts to crack and he goes, oh, and it's just like, oh my God, like he is a super fan. And it's just like, we were all like, this is who we needed to bring us in because he is one of us too. Yeah. And then my buddy Josh walks out and it's like, okay, guys, here we go. Like this is what we have come here for. And and then he starts.
Right. I think, though, it's important to recognize one of the first things he said, and this tells you, and Heather says this a lot, that Disney listens to its fans, which I believe for the most part. I think there are still some, whatever, that's a long discussion. But Josh came out, and I think he recognized the fact that over the last 2 years, Disney fans are whiny babies, but we also recognize we're not getting a lot from Disney. Meanwhile, we're seeing other things happen around the area. We're like, come on, Disney, give us something. So he immediately says, we heard you guys. Everything you're going to hear tonight is already in production. Yeah, we gave you guys. Well, he didn't say this part, but he meant we gave you guys blue sky stuff for the last 2 years. You guys hated it, and so we understand you hated it. So he was like, shovels are being moved, dirt's being moved, plans are in production. Everything tonight is already on the board, already moving forward, which was huge. Because as we've seen, and I go back to pre-COVID, whenever they were talking about New Fantasyland, because there were new things that were coming and like they were doing certain things, a lot of projects got canceled over the course of the 10 years. You know, the Mary Poppins attraction, you know, the theater on Main Street, the Spaceship Earth. Some of that was COVID, obviously, but they just never gone back to some of it. And a lot of that was never in production. It was just kind of blue sky.
It was blue sky.
And I think just having, and he said that at the end too, and I know we'll get to that later, but at the end, he also reiterated, hey guys, everything you just saw tonight, we're doing. It's in production right now. And you know, things may change.
I think
projects still may still get moved, but it's great to know that we're rolling with some of this stuff.
And
absolutely.
Fast forward, like even after he said that, when he said the thing, one of them, which we'll get to, he was like, and I promise. In fact, I don't just promise. And he walks off stage and you just hear All for One go, I swear. And it's like, oh my God. Like it was an ode to be like, oh, you guys, like this is going to make you geek out. But I don't just promise. Singing. I swear, to the point that I'm bringing out All for One to sing the most iconic song that is promising you, that's saying, I see the questions in your eyes. I know it's weighing on your mind. I can be sure that Disney is doing their part. We were dying. Like, oh my God.
It was so random, but
it was so perfect.
It's so
perfect. And it brought it was the best comedic response to be like, here you go. Like, I'm not just promising.
And kudos to All for One getting that paycheck. Because you know, I mean, they're not as popular as they were in like 1998. And so
they're phenomenal.
Good for them.
That was a great idea. Who's ever a Shark Tank idea? It was.
Singing the ending song, The Hunchback, doesn't get you as many royalties as Elton John's getting from Lion King, even to this day. I'll just
100%. That's so accurate.
So everything we are telling you, it is not it's happening.
Yes.
It's happening.
Yes. Well, I think it's important to remember that things do get moved, things do get altered. And
Sure.
so, if 3 years
They
from
might
now
make
you're like,
adjustments.
those 3 girls and that dude on that show told me that this was happening. Well, maybe, but it's now whatever. So, but as far as we know, everything is going forward full steam, like to the point where this fall they're already making announcements about certain things closing.
Yeah.
This fall they're starting construction on I believe Tropical Americas.
Tropical
Like
Americas,
it's
yeah.
we're rolling, which is great.
So when on my like 1.5 days at the end of this month, I'm like, I gotta go like make documentaries of like my last time through, like Dino Land or whatever, because yeah. Anyway, we'll get there.
Let's get started.
We're gonna get started, and we're gonna start with the announcements that are littler. So you gotta stay tuned. Like this is you gotta keep listening, right? We're gonna get to the bigger stuff at the end. And honestly, I'm going to start with something that none of us understand. We're just going to say it. And if you happen to understand what this means, like awesome. Fortnite is doing an expansive Disney universe.
Can I tell you what that means?
Yeah. Go ahead.
They have to constantly connect with the changing of what people are interested in.
Sure.
And right now, video games are a huge market.
Oh, yeah.
Partnering with them to get people that are playing Fortnite that might not be Disney fans and incorporating those characters into those games brings those characters to make them to be their favorite, that then causes those people that are playing the games to want to come to the parks or want to go do experiences that those characters are in. And it also partners them with a multi-billion-dollar industry. And doing that choice is probably the best business decision that they made throughout that entire thing. Like everybody was like, I don't get it. And I was like, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh, I get that part. I just don't get I just don't get
I don't know why it wasn't in the entertainment panel.
That was what I was wondering too.
That makes sense in the entertainment panel to me.
But I will say, I posted about it as soon as I was trying to post the announcements as soon as they were coming up, and I had several people message me about how excited they were, or my kids are over the moon about this, and I'm like,
I would see that. Like,
I don't know.
I could definitely see that, like teenagers being like really, really excited about that.
It's connecting to the older kids.
Absolutely. Now, it doesn't excite me just because it doesn't apply to me, but that's awesome, and I think it's a great decision. It's a great move. It just
great business decision.
It's a great business decision. I applaud it, but we're not going to focus on that. So next, overseas parks. Listen, we do love our overseas parks, right? We do.
But they've been getting love for years.
They've been love for years, literally. Now, just basically what they're doing in Disney's Adventure Park, which is Disneyland Paris, right? Lion King is going to get its own attraction, which it is. I know we have a show in Animal Kingdom, but I love the Lion King. We're due for an actual attraction.
Let's put a Serengeti-based ride in an area that gets snow like 6 months out of the year. That'd be awesome.
And they're getting a Pride Land area. We can spin that somehow. We'll figure out a way to spin it. Also in the Adventure Park, we're getting World of Frozen, so that actually makes sense.
That'll be
that'll be good. Shanghai Heather's Jam is getting a Spider-Man coaster.
I know. I'm going back, guys. I'm gonna go back.
I'm gonna go back here at some point.
Not even a question.
He'll be back. And then he also is getting a Spidey attraction at Hong Kong Disneyland. So cool. Spidey getting a little bit more overseas presence. So Disney Cruise Line. Now we are all very excited about this. This one's close to home. We are getting 4 new ships.
Did you all go what?
I did. I was like,
what? I did not expect that, and I can't wait to find what the names are going to be.
Right?
Yeah.
Can we start betting?
Celebrate the celebration and the imagination. Those are the two. I'm banking on those two being. I've been saying that.
Magical words are left for Disney to use to name their ships.
Maybe the journey that'll go along with Treasure and Destiny. I don't know.
Journey,
Journey would work for that
Journey
new
would
one.
Work. For the new, you mean the one that's after
Horizon?
The Japan one.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The Horizon.
Oh, the Horizon.
I got that one. I called it. That's mine.
The Buzz Ball. I was in it.
Disney's Buzz
Ball. So there are going to be 13 ships total by 2031. 13. So that's the 4 new ships. Currently, we have Wonder Magic, Fantasy Dream. That's 4. The Wish, it's 5. Treasure, 6. Adventure and Destiny, 7 and 8. and then
more.
four new
Don't know
ships.
the
That
name
makes
of
12.
9.
And then there's one we don't have unnamed that's coming soon, correct? After the Destiny?
Mhm.
Yes.
That's
there's one
okay.
after
That's what I was
Destiny.
making sure that
That's
was
the
counted
Japan
correctly.
one.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
which, yeah, it's
Okay.
which we don't even know when it's sailing just yet. I know
Gotcha.
it's coming up, but
Didn't
Okay.
they say, what did they say?
What did they say
2029?
next year?
2029 or 2027?
Wait for the one that's. Oh, I'm thinking of. Never mind. Yeah,
But the
I think
Japan one
2029.
is not
The
counted
Japan
in the 4 new ships they're going to be adding. So that's 4 additional
Correct.
ships.
Mhm.
Okay, just
4
making sure that I got that
additional-
correct.
yeah.
Okay, good deal.
4
Cool.
additional ships.
Yep.
Also, Disney Destiny, which we've been getting more and more information on, is going to have Hercules. So Meredith is going to be very, very excited.
Also, the show that I saw on my honeymoon in 2004 on The Wonder. Probably a different show, but they had Hercules. Yeah,
I'm sure it was a different show.
I've got pictures of Pain and Panic and Hades and everything. It's great.
Oh, I think that would be good. And then I know Heather is very excited about this one. The Disney Treasure is going to have a 15-foot takeoff puppet.
I'm so excited about it. Like, I'm
This is
so
not a
excited about it. And it was not in the Disney Cruise Line nor the Imagineering Pavilion at the expo.
It wasn't.
And they waited to announce it because they had all of the stuff, like the fabrics, the artwork and stuff for things that are coming to the Treasure and the Destiny. And that was in neither pavilion. And I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. Sign me up.
15 feet is almost like 4 Susans. It's crazy.
I know that's like, it's like 2.5 cliffs.
Right?
2.5.
And this is how we measure people by
Pretty
our-
much.
Yeah, right. All right, so now let's move a little bit even more closer to home. We've got even more closer. What sort of grammar was that?
It's okay.
Even-
It's excited,
yeah, I'm
Grandma.
sorry.
Good job,
Grammar.
teacher.
Yeah, thanks. I'm ashamed of myself. All right, Disney's California Adventure. We're going to another coast, right?
Yep.
Opposite coast, actually, where Heather just was. So we've got Avengers Infinity Defense. So they're actually announced Avengers Campus is going to nearly double in size. We've got a Journey Through the Multiverse. Interesting. The multiverse. And battling King Thanos in the new attraction Avengers Infinity Defense. So that's going to be, I'm sure, will be an amazing ride. The multiverse might be confusing, but
They showed off some of the vehicles, what the mock-ups of the vehicles would look like. And they
Yeah.
sort of look like the Spider-Man vehicles from Universal or
Yes.
even kind of the Spider-Man vehicles from California Adventure. So kind of a mixture.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be like a trackless system, kind of like they've
That's my
been
guess.
using for most of these things.
Mhm.
And then in a 2-person pod, this is going to be yet a different attraction. Guests will be transported to a Stark test station to experience simulated flight. RDJ is reprising his role as Tony Stark in Stark Flight Lab.
Some of all thrills makes its return.
So
That's exactly what it is.
David. So literally, I was just like, wait a minute. Didn't we already have that? Like, but I was just like, okay, they just moved it to California,
Love that
whatever.
ride.
And then he comes out and he shows the vehicle and he's like, I wrote it. And he's like, and it's great. And I loved it so much. I invited the boss man. And then they show on the screen, Bob Iger is riding it. And they still have the other side that is like, like grayed out. And Bob's just like sitting there in it, like, oh, okay. And he's like, and then
It's
we
like an
invited
arm
someone
with a
else.
seat.
Yeah. And then we invited someone else. And it's him and Robert Downey Jr. And I was just like, okay, it's back. It's back. Because that was the one thing whenever, like, Interventions, they were like, I can't believe they're getting rid of that. And they're not.
That was a great attraction.
It was a lot of fun.
They updated it.
By the way, I want to say the highest score you could get, and that was like 1470 in terms of intensity, in terms of basically putting your coast. I think we got to like 1390 one time, and you really had to pick you had to pick like a certain car with a certain number of inversions and whatever to get to that perfect score. But I love that ride. Kyla, if you know what we're talking about, you have this blank stare.
Look at she's like, what?
Oh wow! So for those of you who don't know, Some of All
Like an
Thrills was in
arm.
Epcot. It was in Interventions. Okay, and granted, a lot of times, a lot of things were shut down. But if you would walk back, and I remember whenever you kind of go counterclockwise, was on the right hand side.
Right.
You would design your own roller coaster.
You design it, and you get the seat, and they would pull this canopy over you, and you would see the screens, and whatever you designed, that's the coaster you were.
Actually rode your coaster,
and you were in a jet car or a train.
I don't know if I ever
whatever.
did it, but that's what you're. All right, so that was in my head, but I'm like, is it what they're talking
Yeah,
about?
Some of All Thrills. Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly what it was.
Okay.
And I remember we had walked by it so many times for whatever reason, and one time we're like, "There's no line. Let's just go." And so we did it. We were like,
We didn't do interventions a lot because when it was still around, Bella was so little. Like
she was little.
It wasn't our vibe. So and then
well, by that time there wasn't a lot in there anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was one of
it
the
was
only
25 years ago when it was at its peak. I mean, it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was always awesome. Like that particular ride was always great. So I'm really glad they brought it back. And as soon as they announced that, I was like, oh yeah, that is literally what we used to have.
That's fun.
So and I'm not mad. Also, we will be getting a Coco themed attraction there. They didn't really specify. Oh, a boat ride.
It is a boat ride.
So,
A boat ride.
which makes sense. And then that'll be fun. Like,
And the Avengers stuff has been happening. He specifically said it, like everybody, because when you walk into Avengers campus, there's like this giant building and you're like, well, you can't do anything.
right.
And the jet is at the top and you're like, what is behind there? And the fact of the matter is they've been building it the entire time. That's what's behind there.
Which means it'll be done
Funny.
sooner than later because they're already working on it.
We're not going to be waiting like 3 years.
Hopefully not. So
Right.
we'll see. They have
I mean, it's not a bakery on Boardwalk. Come on.
Did they announce when they're opening that, Heather? Was that like the big news of the night? When is this?
Yeah. Final news of the night, the one you've all been waiting for.
The bakery
2029. We're going to give you an idea when we're going to open this bakery. So.
So let's move to Disneyland across the Esplanade. There, they are as anticipated. Tiana's Bayou Adventure will be there starting November of this year. So Splash Mountain, we all knew that was happening. It just we know a date now. And Critter Country will now be Bayou Country, which that's right off of New Orleans Square, isn't it? Or right near it?
It's right around it.
Yes.
So right around. Yeah, it's pretty
right
close.
from it.
Isn't it
Right
like
on the bend.
Beyond Haunted Mansion out there?
Yeah, and then who sits behind that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and
whole
Winnie the Pooh's
thing's
right there.
blocked off
Winnie the
right
Pooh's
now.
right there close to Splash Mountain or Tiana's. So it's all there together.
So, and then, the next thing, which we also knew was coming, Avatar Land and Disneyland, but it will not have Flight of Passage. It's going to be a different adventure, and this will be like around the Way of Water. So,
and the new movie is called Fire and Ash. So it's going to be that as well, come in with those. And this is one thing too that I recognized that through the conversation, especially when we get to Disney World, you're going to hear some properties that are going to be at both parks. But I love the idea that they're not making the same adventures at both parks.
Exactly.
Like it would be easy for them to put Flight of Passage over there, and Disneyland people would love it because Flight of Passage is great. But they're like, you know what? We're going to put Avatar here, but we're going to make it an exclusive adventure over here. So if you want to experience the Way of Water and Fire and Ash, you got to come here. You fly Flight of Passage, you got to go there. And I really like that they're going to do that.
I do like differentiation between, or amongst.
Right.
I like having some things that are similar, but also different. Yes, it does. It means you need to go there to experience it.
Correct. And we'll definitely get to that later on with Indy. But
with Indy for sure. And then I just lost my place. Oh yes, I'm so excited about this. The Walt animatronic.
Don't even.
A Walt Disney A Magical Life will premiere in 2025 in the Disneyland Opera House, and I will cry. I was gonna have an animatronic Walt. And it'll eventually rotate with Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, which is also a treasure.
This has been a rumor for
years.
Yeah. And it's always been in the back of their mind to do it. And when he was getting ready and it got like super quiet, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was just like, we're getting the Walt. Like I'm on video, like telling my friend Jody, like, we're getting the Walt animatronic right now. Right. And when he's talking about it, there's nobody saying anything. And everybody, if you looked around, just have tears just falling down their faces.
Yeah.
And then he ends it saying, like, you're just going to have a conversation with Walt in his office. And it's going to be like, you're there. I'm going to try not to get emotional. With a close friend as he asks you to play a song. And then Meghan Trainor comes out and just sings Feed the Birds.
Yes.
And just like I'm getting emotional right now.
Which, of course, is for the listener, it's Walt Disney's favorite song.
I'm
sure I mean, loved it. This is the biggest one. So,
and just like I'm crying right now, everybody was like sobbing because it was like, this is why you love it.
This is, to me, this is what sets Disney apart from other places. And there are many criticisms about IP and blah, 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 blah. But this is something they did not have to do. This is something that's probably costing a lot of money, taking up some valuable real estate. They could put that money elsewhere. Let's make another Cars thing. Let's put some more Avengers here, whatever. But this is something that they looked at the fans and said, we know you love Disney and Disney's history. Our history begins with Walt Disney. Without him, there's nothing. And so we want to make sure that, because he's represented all over Disneyland. If you didn't do this, you'd still get Walt everywhere. But we want to give the fans a place to come and see and hear Walt in his own words talk about his life. And we're going to do an audio animatronic. And they could just do a narration if they wanted to, but they didn't. They did it on the animatronic, which I have faith is going to look great. Not like Hall of Presidents, but actual look cool. And so this is just to me because Six Flags can't, Universal can't do this. Who would they put up there? The ET? Heather would hate that. I mean, they don't have anybody that's going to come up and like have an attraction of this is what Universal stands for. This is what it means. This is why Disney is apart from so many other places, because at its core, it is one vision and one dream that everything stems from. And giving the fans a place to go see the birth of that dream in action and hear it with their own ears right there in front. That's tremendous to me. I think that's an incredible feature.
And here's the other thing that you have to remember. We were discussing this like before we went into it. And I said, right now, the people that are taking their kids to the parks, we are the grandchildren of the Walt's, like original visitors to his park. Okay. We were the ones that watched like The Wonderful World of Disney at night on repeats. That were not the live ones, the repeat ones on the Disney Channel.
Right.
Our children and then their children are not going to have the nostalgia that we have to it. And putting this in there is introducing him to an entire new generation to say, hey, take this little magical moment. Let me take you back to like what I saw and what this vision is, and kind of keep him relevant for the next like 50 years. And the fact of the matter is, which I know I said this as soon as I came back, because I went on a whole rant about it, because we all know I'm like super passionate about it. And I went on a whole rant about it. Of all of the announcements, they were all business decisions. Okay. They are all business decisions to keep Disney relevant, to keep Disney consistently moving. The parks will never be done. Walt said it. All the executives still say it, all this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
This right here, of all of the stuff that we all complain about, this right here was for the fans. So for everybody that's complaining on the news platform saying like, I don't think they gave us enough, and where's the fifth gate, and where's this and this and this.
Yeah,
and
Kyla.
This. They invested millions to make this happen at the end of the day. Like because they gave up a space and the time and the energy to work on something else to grow their business, to give something that can make you just go in and have a moment.
I think it's one of the most important announcements they did too. I mean, honestly, I was so excited.
Right.
I mean, they should. You know who should sponsor this? To be honest, Kleenex.
Oh, 100%.
Kleenex should sponsor it.
You just get like a little mini pack.
A little mini pack when you're going in.
Oh my God! They
Sponsored by Kleenex.
A little mini pack of Kleenex. Walk in. Shark Tank, where are you? That's my mini pack.
I don't think that would work with Shark Tank, Kyla, because Kleenexes actually do exist already. And so does Minnie. You're just combining them. Anyway.
Well, now moving over to the big one, Walt Disney World. This was the one everybody was like, okay, but
and they
what
spent
is
so much time on Disney World. I was like, so if you notice, and maybe I'm missing, and maybe Heather can tell me that I'm wrong on this, but like in previous D23s, they would say, here are the cruise stuff. Here's the overseas park stuff. Here's the Disney World stuff. Here's the Disneyland stuff. Here's the Disneyland stuff. Here's the overseas stuff. Here's the Disneyland stuff. They broke it up like Disney World, Disneyland Cruise, Disney World, like whatever. Maybe, and I'm guessing that's because they didn't want to do the entire chunk of like an hour on Disney World, because then it would be very obvious.
I think so.
But maybe. Disney World got so much stuff this time, and it's the first time in a long time I've seen that.
Because we have.
I have complained about that so much. We're the cash cow, and we get jack. I mean,
nothing. We're like, dude, like give World something, because we're like, we have so many repeat visitors. Listen, I know Land does too, but like, we are the destination, right? And I say we're
the cash cow.
Coasters. It's the cash cow. Okay,
we're the one putting those paychecks in that bank.
So I'm like, okay, I'm so excited.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to go in the order of the blog. Thank you, David Dollar, who wrote our blog that is going up.
It's a long
so you don't
blog.
have to
Get
read
ready.
all- It is a very long blog, but it's okay. It's got all the announcements. So we've got Hollywood Studios. This is where we're going to start. Hollywood Studios. This I absolutely did not see coming.
I did not see
and
it
I know
coming.
David did not
No.
see.
Nobody did.
I did in 2005 because I visited in 2005 after college, and I did a meet and greet with Mike and Sully.
Mhm.
And everyone's like, "Oh, maybe they'll do like some more Monsters Inc. stuff." We are getting a Monsters Inc. land.
Yes.
And
Nobody saw it.
Yeah.
And
nobody saw it
Josh
coming. I
said,
was like,
did you hear him? He said and he was just like, I loved that whenever we presented the Horizons poster, that all of you took to the internet and all of your platforms and you were like, here's what I think's happening. Here's what I think's happening. He was like, some of you came super close. Some of you even nailed some of the ideas. He was like, and some you were completely wrong on. And that was the Hollywood Studios. Everybody was speculating. I think me and Jen said last week, I was like, what if it's a Bluey land?
This
and I
was
was
supposed
like,
to be-
I'm like, that would actually be great.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
and-
God,
and-
you
and-
Bluey.
I would go to Bluey.
Well, and Monsters Inc. and the big thing is the suspended coaster. That's the thing we're getting is a suspended coaster.
Yes,
and we were supposed to get a ride like that back in 2001, 2002, and the recession happened and it was off the board. Mini rant. There are people that are online whining as they are, like Heather said, talking about Disney has no fresh ideas. They're having to go back and get ideas they had 20 years ago. So what? This is a great idea. I mean, why do they not look at? They go, this idea is 20 years old. Let's just scrap it so we can get all new stuff. No, this is an incredible idea. I love this suspended coaster idea, and I love the idea of Monsters Inc. because people are talking about it might go into Muppets Courtyard. I don't think it will. I think it's going to go into Launch Bay area because there's nothing over there. That shop has not been reopened for years. I'm not even sure the Disney Junior stuff will be there. I don't know, but I think it'll, and maybe it will.
Get rid of Disney Junior.
But that whole area there is just kind of a fill-in for nothing. I mean, it's like a couple of characters and some Star Wars props. Put it all there, and I think it's going to be tremendous. This area, and again, out of the blue, when Billy Crystal came out on stage, I actually thought he was going to announce a Monsters Inc. 3, and I was like, why would we not talk about this last night? I don't know. So anyway,
I didn't see it coming.
I think it's funny that and this is what I said to David, and I'm not complaining. I just I didn't see the connection because I'm like, there's no Monsters Inc. movie coming out, but we're getting Monsters Inc. Land. Like, I thought there was going to be some sort of connection somewhere, and there wasn't. It's still going to be fun. But
I think it's more popular than you think.
Surprised.
Those are two characters that really endure. I mean, there's hundreds of Pixar characters, and I think those are two near the top that people immediately recognize, immediately talk about. And somebody made a great idea on Twitter where they're like, because the cover of like the magazines and stuff with Sully, and then there's Mike with the UPC over it. That's in the movies and stuff. So maybe the great idea of when you have a group photo, somebody should get Mike Wazowski and have a UPC over it, just randomly over that person's face. Just random shot. Just somebody gets UPC'd and gets a Mike Wazowski in every photo.
Oh my gosh.
I think they should.
That would be really funny.
And here's the other thing that you have to remember. While this idea might have been Blue Sky 10 years ago, they finally figured out the technology to make it work because it's not just a coaster. He specifically said, and you know how you all said decades ago, oh, I want to be on the ride that comes out and picks up the door and takes us.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, we're doing that too.
Yeah, this would not have been a coaster 25 years ago. This would have been like it is in Disneyland, where you get a little car going through. That's what the ride would have been. I'm jazzed. I'm all for it. I know Kyla.
I think coaster is going to be great, and again, trying to get those older kids back into the farm.
Exactly.
I know Kyla hates Joy, but I love this. I think this is good. So
I will say, whenever people were starting to speculate about Muppets, Brady looked at me. He's like, Muppets, and I was like, I don't know. It doesn't have to go there.
I don't think it will because they just spent all that money refurbishing the theater.
I know, that's what I said. I was like, I think it's going to be okay.
I mean, if Disney does listen to their fans, they know that Muppets it's got such a small presence in the entire Disney World resort.
But we love
this is the one that everybody loves, and it's people still go to this, even though it's cheesy and old. I mean, people love it, so I can't see them tearing that down because that would just be a waste. But
it would, that would be a waste. And then also, I'm wondering, does this set up for? Well, I don't, unless I missed an announcement, I don't think I did. I mean, right now, the only other Mike and Sully presence we have, and it's not even Mike and Sully, it's the Monsters Inc. Flat Floor. So,
and Sully meets sometimes in Walt Disney World.
He meets sometimes in Hollywood Studios.
I thought about the idea of moving it to Hollywood. I don't think they would do that. I think that's just
I don't think they would
to do that. It's.
But
no
then maybe, there's no reason to. But anyway, I was just thinking about that. All right. moving over to Animal Kingdom, where we know that stuff's going to start happening this fall, right? With that was the first thing, the Tropical Americas.
Oh, and don't forget, Millennium Falcon is going to get some new scenes.
I totally skipped that. You're right. Thank you.
Because the movie's coming out in 2026.
That's
The Mandalorian and Grogu,
Grogu.
also not called Baby Yoda. It's
I still protest that.
No, we don't have to talk about it a lot.
Yoda.
But there will be
Baby
new
Yoda.
new missions on Millennium Falcon with
Good.
centering around those characters. So anyway, move forward. But,
I do think that that's an important thing. We've kind of talked about that before, and yes, his name is Baby Yoda.
And it's an easy thing for them to change.
Right.
So
which I love it. I think should have like 3 or 4 missions. And
love it.
like Star Tours, you just get on there. You don't know which mission you're flying.
And you don't know which
get in
mission
there.
you're getting. That would be awesome because they have I think 4 different pods. I want to say
Something like
there's
that.
4 different areas, each of which have 7 Falcon simulators. You could easily have a different one in each, just depending on which line you're in. All right. Tropical Americas. We've known that this is happening. We've known Dino Land is going bye-bye. Some people are excited. Some people aren't. I know our good friend Derek Frank is sad about the kids not crying anymore on the back of their
It is the best.
Oh, Triceratops spin. We love you.
I love when they get off and they're like, "Mommy, I hated that ride." I'm like, "That was awesome."
Not our dino.
It's a great ride, but it needed to be like spruced up, or it needed to go.
Yeah.
Well, I think they knew it was going to be done. So
that pre-show is like how old at this point? With
Yes.
Right.
Claire
Mrs.
Huxtable.
Felicia
Mrs.
Rashad
Huxtable
is like
and Hodges
40.
from CSI. So yeah. It's and we'll talk about this too when we get to Magic Kingdom stuff.
To Magic Kingdom.
But Dinosaur is one of those, like, even when we do Dash Pass, when Campbell and I would go, the wait time was like 20 minutes. I mean, it was never a long wait. And sometimes when it's really busy, when everything is busy, it's busy. But most of the time, 30 minutes tops. So this is not like this is the biggest ride in the park. No, this is like the 5th biggest ride in the park. But of course, people are suddenly going to be the biggest fans of this ride ever now that it's going to go away, because that's what happens. Maelstrom as an example. But
I did love
bring that up.
Oh, everybody loved Maelstrom. We heard all about it when they decided to take it away, even though nobody rode that ride. Anyway, keep going.
You know what? Thanks for triggering me, David. Whatever. So that is starting late. They are going to do the closing it piece by piece.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the first thing to close is not going to be the dinosaur.
No, they're going to work on Primeval. That area Primeval World is. That the big empty space. I think they're going to start putting stuff there before they close anything.
What are you going to do when you can't get on Primeval World? Or
you mean the same thing I've done for the last 3 years since it's been closed?
No, I'm sorry, Triceratops man.
I just did that ride in July. Yeah, I totally did. It was like we totally did. I burned the back of my legs because it was
so
like
hot.
lava.
Yeah.
But we were trying to get some stuff done because it was the day we did all 4 parks for Bella's birthday on July 4th.
Oh.
We were like, all right, let's just like bomb through Dino Lands. We'll grab some food and go. Like, so we did it. And Frank's like, why are we on this ride? Like,
accurate. It's so bad.
It was
Kyla and I have discussed next time we're in Disney World together to do all 4 parks in one day, but we're gonna have to make Epcot last, because that means Kyla will go quickly through all the other parks so she can get to Epcot, the World Showcase, to the lounges.
Smart.
Speaking of, we need to talk about that.
Yes,
But
we'll be at Epcot by like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's go! Come on, Lacava, let's do it.
See, that's what we should have done to motivate Team White in the race we did. Rather, the blue team's like going for the green team, the purple team, white team's like, we're just gonna stay in Epcot. I'm like, I should have made you end in Epcot.
Well, you couldn't put them in Animal Kingdom because they go to Nomad, and they'd still be there. I mean, anyway,
it didn't open first thing. Anyway, okay. Encanto is going to finally have its first attraction. Yes, we have currently a stage show in Epcot.
Excited for this.
Right.
Oh my gosh, the kids have got to be like over the
love
moon.
Encanto.
I do too.
And they said the house is going to be alive.
Yeah.
The house
and
is
it's
going to
not a boat ride.
So
people were talking about being a boat. It's not a boat ride. Just
it's not a boat ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and it's
what
going to
do
be.
you think it's going to be?
A trackless ride, a walkthrough, a ride through. I don't know.
A ride through?
I think it might be part walkthrough, and then the rest of it's going to be one of those like magnetic floors, like Remy.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we going to be? Like, what is the car?
I don't know, but it says that you start like in his room, like right after he gets his powers.
Is it all the different animals?
Yes.
Are we going to be?
Antonio's the one that talks to animals, so yeah, the animals will be there, and so it's
No. The cars themselves, is each car going to be a different animal?
Oh, that's a good idea. I have no idea, and nobody knows yet. So.
Yeah, nobody knows. But as you're making your way through,
you didn't miss anything. Josh did not say anything about that, so you didn't miss that part. I promise.
Kyla, the possibilities are endless.
Okay,
now there is and agreed. Indiana Jones, we have said. I mean, they've even teased that for Tropical Americas. It is going to go. Everyone's like, oh, it's the same like ride track as Disneyland. You know, Dinosaur Indiana. Everyone says it's the same. They did confirm it is going to be Indiana, but different. Different adventure.
My guess will be the ride track will still be the same, but the adventure
I can't
itself
imagine they change that.
will be totally different. So, which I think is
it makes it for an easier turnaround time, just like how Tiana's was.
What they did Tiana's in 15 months, 18 months, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So I think they can turn that one around fairly quickly, and because they don't really need to demo the outside of the building, I think it'll be a little bit
John Stamos will buy the dinosaur in front of the building. And they'll like auction off the other stuff. He's gonna have a dinosaur, a teacup, and the Disneyland sign in his backyard.
Countdown to extinction. So, countdown to Stamos.
CTX. Or remember that. I do say I love that music. The CTX original music was fantastic. I still play it sometimes. It's lovely. And then can we talk about my very, very favorite announcement of all of these?
This is Jen. It was the highlight of Jen's announcement.
I was like,
Tough to be a Bug is going away.
It's going away. It's going to be Zootopia. Thank God.
Like this
Zootopia
winter.
better together. It's
so
like,
no more maggots and crickets and cockroaches under your legs leaving the theater.
They're still going to have special effects, don't you think?
I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean the theater's equipped for that.
But no bugs.
I think we're going to get some of the animatronics that are in the Zootopia overseas.
Yeah. Overseas. What was that? Which one is that? Is that Japan?
That one isn't that one in Shanghai?
Oh, maybe it's Shanghai. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
It's going to premiere. Premiering winter of 2025. So we do have like about 15 months, but that's coming up. So we'll be able to book for that soon, actually. Okay,
that'll be great.
Yep.
I know you guys are rolling your eyes.
I love how excited you are about this, and it's a show.
Just wait till they announce that they're demolishing Tomorrowland Speedway one day and watch.
It's never going away. It's going to be there forever, just like it is. So yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm preparing my celebration for the.
That's 2026's announcement.
You wait, it'll happen one day. Epcot, as anticipated, really didn't get a lot of announcements, but the walls just came down. People, don't put walls back up in my park. They are going to do, but this very exciting Spaceship Earth themed lounge. And Spaceship Earth I love. And then updated test track, which we knew was coming. So that's going to be 2025. Right. So what? I'm guessing probably maybe like early summer, but I mean it could be wrong. I could be
for the lounge.
No, test track.
Oh, for test track.
Because they've been working on it.
Here, Kyla, I don't know if you heard Josh announce this either, but there's a trick to the lounge. It's actually going to be the top of Spaceship Earth, and if you have 6 margaritas and walk the steps all the way down,
I knew you were
successfully, they'll give you a free drink. So 6 margaritas, walk the steps the entire length of Spaceship Earth without falling. Then it's you're in. I believe you can do it. You can lunge all the way down.
I don't think you can lunge down steps. I think it's.
You know what I was thinking of?
I'll take your bags.
Like the concept art of the Spaceship Earth Lounge is that you can see the fireworks. So I wonder if they'll have like dessert party packages or like dining packages, like with fireworks viewing.
That would be smart.
That would be.
Kyla, you are 2 for 2 today, girl.
Huh?
You're 2 for 2 today with these ideas.
Great ideas.
Disney Shark.
Good, you got some ideas for once.
Awesome. Okay, so then I'm wondering, is this going into space?
It's where the VIP lounge is now. The Siemens
That's what I'm about to
lounge.
say. The Siemens
VIP
lounge, because many of these pavilions actually have a VIP lounge.
Yep.
The the Living Seas has one. Over Mission Space, there's one, which is now obviously the restaurant.
Right.
So interesting. Okay, so that makes sense that's where that's going.
Yeah, and then they'll just get more money because it'll be like.
That's what Epcot needed. More places to serve alcohol. They were
It's a
short on that.
lounge.
Well, now
They
you
probably are going to have food.
Yeah, but now you can just start from the front of the park with your drinks instead of having to go all the way to the.
Drinks will find a way. The buzz will find a way.
Maybe they'll bring Heather's salad over there too, so she can have it in 2 places.
Oh, nice.
I'm in. Sign me up.
So, okay. Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
I have thoughts.
I was just going to say that, David. I have.
Do you want to have thoughts first, or do you want to?
Well, no. Let's run through the announcements first.
Announcement, and then you have.
Yeah, and start at the bottom. Go to the obviously.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna go bottom to top here. Okay.
Because you want to keep Kyla excited by this next one.
Well, listen.
I mean, this would have been my last announcement,
right?
But and that is the Pirates of the Caribbean themed tavern, which as we did get that. Didn't we get that?
We need an opening date for these.
2025.
25. We at least know it's 2025.
But it'll be something like March, and they'll say opening date April 2nd. I mean, it'll be something that's suddenly 10 days from now it's open. It'll not fall 2025. I mean, it'll just be open.
We know where it's going because I was doing
Tortuga Tavern.
Tortuga, yeah.
But it didn't look like they were doing any work. Ironically enough, the tower on the ride side itself last month was completely covered.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah. Tortuga. It's definitely going where Tortuga Tavern is, but I really don't think it's going to take that much work to get it.
It's already piratey anyway, so just piratey up a little bit more and you're good.
And add some seating, hopefully enclose it a bit and put some AC on that bad boy. Because
add the bird. Isn't a parrot going in or something? Parrot. Yes.
You have to pull the parrot out of it, but I don't feel like it's going to be that difficult. I don't think it'll be down that long. So I imagine that because they like to keep Tortuga Tavern for peak seasons, so maybe that's
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They'll close
I've never been in there. I've never stepped foot in Tortuga Tavern.
We went once because we was open and we were like, we never get to eat here because it's always closed, so let's go. And it was like burritos.
I ate a foot-long hot dog on the outside of Tortuga Tavern while they were riding pirates because they left me. But beyond that, Anyway.
Looking for... Anyway, carry on.
Anyway.
Bitter just never dies. Anyway.
Next summer, a brand new nighttime parade.
So exciting.
Disney Starlight. I'm like, okay, it's not Spectrum Magic.
No.
Right, it's okay.
But it looks beautiful. Like the little
beautiful
rendering.
And
it looks very magical.
I am hopeful that it's going to be even better than Spectrum Magic, and it's going to be my favorite ever.
Ever.
Because it's a nighttime parade. I'll take it. I mean, just give it to me.
Yeah, right. It is a nighttime parade. It's going to be, I am so excited. And that they did say summer 2025 for that announcement. So that.
And this is another one where this was strictly given because of fan complaints. They're just like, we need it back. We need something back. We need something back. It's the biggest, bring it back. So the fans won with us too.
Yeah, we did.
And if it couldn't be Tapestry of Nations, let's do this. That's fine.
I'm so excited.
Would not be mad about Tapestry of Nations either. But yay for Disney Starlight. I'm ready for a killer soundtrack too.
Yeah.
Spectrum Magic was such a great soundtrack. Love Main Street Electrical podcast. Main Street Parade soundtrack. I mean, I also.
It'd be awesome if it was like EDM. If they got like David Guetta to do it, and be like
Sandstorm,
like going down Main Street.
Is that Daft Punk I hear?
Daft Punk. That is
around the world, around the world.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I mean,
oh my gosh,
hilarious! Oh. They should put that song in Epcot. Why didn't?
Yeah, I was just as soon as I said that, I was just
going
thinking
around the world. Man, Josh.
You missed the EDM train.
Well, Jen, if you call the guy back when he calls you, get him on the show.
Oh my gosh, right.
My goodness.
Yeah, okay.
Missed opportunities, Josh.
Oh, it's so fun. Oh, all right. And then this, and I didn't see this one coming.
No.
I was surprised. And this is about the Cars themed attractions coming to Frontierland. There are 2 Cars themed attractions, which I mean, like when I think about it, and I know it's not Cars Land, right? Cars Land in Disneyland.
They made a point to say this is not Radiator Springs.
Right.
It's not going to be racers or nothing like that. So,
but I can see how it can fit in like behind Frontierland. I'm like, okay, like that. Like I totally see how that could work. But yeah, and there's also going to be it was revealed that Cars will take over land. Oh, this one is a little hard. I accept it, but it is a little hard.
I have thoughts.
Tom Sawyer Island and Rivers of America.
I do like the boat. I mean, I could care less about Tom Sawyer Island, but I'm a little disappointed that the boat's
I like to go
lovely
cool off
aesthetic.
time.
Right.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Go for a big boat ride. But so that's slightly disappointing. And again, with like I expected a Cars movie to be announced if like Cars rides were coming, but it wasn't.
We've already had like 4 Cars movies.
We've had 3.
I know, right?
But not that 4 could. I mean, wouldn't be possible because we got Frozen 3 and 4 coming in a couple of years. So.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, I'm excited for the Cars stuff. I think because they did a great job of Cars Land in Disneyland. I will lament Tom Sawyer Island a little bit because of the nostalgia and all that.
Everybody's saying that, but
Heather, I have a spiel, but you go first.
Okay, here's my thing, right? If you love it so much, right? Then you should have kept it popular for the last 20 years. That's my first thing. Number two, if you do love it that much, then now is the time that you need to get back to the park.
Absolutely.
Reach out to Upon Star Travel. Then let's get you back there to see it. Take all the videos, take all the photos. And to be honest, you are a part of Disney history if you do it. Okay? Because you got to visit it.
And I will. At the end of this month, I will go there.
Yes. Okay. Right. Yep. But when is the last time that any of you rope dropped either one of them? Or when is the last time that one of you on your way from Big Thunder and Bears was like, oh, I'm going to make a left-hand turn and I'm going to get on the boat or I'm going to go to Tom Sawyer Island versus walking straight and getting
September 2019.
I've never done it.
That was the last time I did it. Seriously.
I've never done it. I just don't care to.
Yeah.
We did it in
Sorry, Jen.
20. We did it in 2020 when we went back to the park, like for the first time. And I want to say we probably did it in 21. The reason, so when sometimes if the crowds are a lot, and that's when we go. We go over because there's those rocking chairs. There's like kind of a place to chill out. And it's a really cool view of Big Thunder Mountain. So we went back there and like took some photos and stuff. But no, we don't do it all the time. So yes, is the space better used? I can totally see that. But it does. It's just like anytime there's something that you remember from childhood. Like I remember playing in those caves with my sister. I actually have a core memory from being in the parks with my sister and chasing each other through the caves on Tom Sawyer Island. And like, I'll never be able to do that again after, after this next trip. So it's sad. That doesn't mean that it shouldn't happen. It's still sad to me.
Yeah, it's just sad because it's a little part of your
Because it's a little part of my Disney history.
Right.
That's going away.
So, yeah, that's going away. So, I mean, I'm not mad about it. I'm not like protesting or like, you shouldn't do it. Like, no, okay, I get it.
You also have to remember that it takes a lot to maintain and get the people to and from the island. And it's expensive to run the riverboat.
That does not surprise me at all. And I think it's fine. It's just nostalgic. It's nostalgia. Yes. That's all. Right. The nostalgia is coming out from from inside out too.
Go ahead, David.
Curious. I think Susan said this in the chat. Like, how are they going to connect those Cars rides with like Haunted Mansion in the background? Like, how is that going to look aesthetically? Like to me,
well, you're gonna
picture it.
You're gonna be on the train. And the guy's going to be like, and over to your left is Radiator Springs. That's right. You can get a quick service with Mater and take a ride with Lightning McQueen. Up next is the Prairie Dog. I mean, it's going to be very odd.
It'll be interesting.
And you'll be hearing Grimgan and Ghost in the background. You'll hear ka-chow, which will also be very odd. Okay.
Now, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to connect it.
Yes. So here's my thought. First, I have no problem with Cars itself going in there because Frontierland doesn't necessarily have to be the Old West. It's the wilderness. And if you watch the first movie, Cars is half that movie. Most of that movie is in a Western wilderness town, right? So I have no problem with that whatsoever.
I think it fits.
And it's not like it's Radiator Springs Racers, not Racers. The Speedway, whatever the ride is called over in Hollywood Studios. The Racers. Yeah. No, in Hollywood Studios, the little ride. The race thing. The show. The show. It's a small little area. what they're doing with this is going to be a big footprint. Now, while I look at the maps and stuff, and I'm thinking they probably had room behind Big Thunder in the unused space to put this, I don't know, because I don't know what they were doing with villains, and we'll get to villains in a few minutes, obviously. Like, so obviously, there's really nowhere else to put this. I also kind of mourn the loss of the riverboat, more the riverboat than Tom Sawyer Island. The riverboat,
agree.
Because that's a Walt thing. I mean, that's one of the things again that sets Magic Kingdom apart from so many other parks. It's you've got this great nostalgic river in the middle of your park with this big riverboat representing old town America. You got Tom Sawyer Island representing the old times and such, and I get that. But also, as I thought through it, we're also, and as Heather made point too, we're raising Disney children that are becoming Disney adults. These Disney children grew up in the 90s and the 2000s with Pixar, with a lot of IP, with a lot of things. What's going to get them to the parks and their kids to the parks when they get older? It's not going to be a nostalgic riverboat. It's going to be the characters they loved when they were kids. Lightning McQueen, Monsters, Inc., Incredibles, Tangled, and all those characters that they grew up with. And that's the new generation coming up. So while I do wish we had a way to keep the riverboat, as Heather said at the top of this show, a lot of this is business decisions and looking forward to the future. In 20 years, you're going to have a whole new generation of fans that care less about the riverboat and care less the fact that it was an original thing with Walt, more of we want to ride cool stuff that has meanings to us from when we were kids. And that's going to be something like Cars. I think part of it too is like, I wish it wasn't Cars. I wish it was something else more.
I do too.
Speedway should have been themed to Cars.
I feel as if we're taking a great national park and putting a strip mall in the national park. Nobody went to the national park, and everybody will shop at the strip mall, and you'll make lots of money, and it'll be really popular. But at the same time, it just feels something wrong about it. But I get it, and I understand. I just hate that we're losing the river because they're going to have to fill all that in. According to the renderings of the artistry, they're going to fill all that in.
Well, but Kyla and I, when we were in Disneyland Paris, they actually have Big Thunder that goes under a river and onto the island.
That's right. That's really cool, right? But do we think the riverboat's going to be one of the 4 new Disney cruises?
The Disney Liberty Bell. It's going to make one big. It's going to make one big circle around the port and come right back.
That's one of the new cruise ships, guys. Liberty Bell.
It's one of the new TTC vehicles. I mean,
that was great. They have to move that somewhere.
They have to put it somewhere.
Like, what if they put it in Bay Lake and like they do the fireworks cruise? What if they bring the fireworks cruise back?
You could.
Yeah.
On the Liberty Bell.
Listen to this episode with all our great ideas.
I think that's smart.
Or they'll do like the special magic floats and just destroy them, and then just sell pieces of the riverboat. I'm just saying that's
positivity.
Disney's done it. So, and they'll like. We've got tons of pins on this wall that's like 10 feet from me right now with Spectro Magic pieces in them, little pieces all the way around because you're like, we're going to sell these things for $15 a piece and make a ton.
I'm going to be so hateful right now.
I'm just saying this could happen. I'm just saying.
We're all up here and David says something and it's like,
I'm just keeping it real, yo.
David. Whatever. Okay. So anyway, we do not have a projected opening for any of this or any idea when the work is going to start. I would imagine probably they'll start the work sooner than later.
Right.
But
shovels are in the ground.
Yes, exactly.
And suddenly Tom Sawyer Island and the Riverboat will be 2 of the most popular attractions in Magic Kingdom.
It will.
For people, missing it and wishing they would keep it around because I love that attraction. And as Heather said, how long it's been since you've loved that attraction.
Yeah. I will say every time I've been on it, I do love it. It's just I don't love it enough to always go on it. But anyway, I will post stuff about it once I ride it again.
Now, is that it? Are we done with all the announcements? Is there
we are. That's it. That's fine. Yeah, nothing else.
All right, so let's talk about Universal. Epic Universe is expected to have an opening date.
And a great D23.
Yeah, that's it. The D23. Oh, wait, no, I did forget the one.
Hold on. What? But did you watch? That was when he started to end it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, blah, 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 blah.
Because the internet.
And before you say that, Heather, hold on. Before you say that, and you were there, so you heard this too. But as I was watching in the middle of it, when they announced Cars, the way he led up to it made it sound like he was about to say villains. And when he announced Cars, I heard audible booing from people around, like, whoever. Like I heard, and like the applause was muted. Again, what I heard on the streaming, the applause was muted. People are like, oh, and because I think, and of course, the Twitter went nuts. I mean, just watching the social medias went nuts and everything. And even in our own chat, people were like, what the? And I was the same thing. I'm like, really? Is this, whatever. And so then towards the end of the show, Heather.
So he starts closing it out and he was like, "Thank you so much for joining us tonight," whatever. And I do not know what made me look down.
And
I
Kyla
have
is
no
cursing
idea.
at me on chat. And
He's
she's like,
talking.
This cannot be it.
He's talking,
So bad.
and Jody's like, "That can't be what's behind Big Thunder Mountain." And he's just getting nostalgic, like, "You have to remember, like, we're looking for the future, and there's so much more that's coming." And I just look down, and my bracelet starts glowing green, and I hit her, and I go, "Oh my God, it's villains." And she goes, "What?" And I go, "Look." And we looked out, and all of the bracelets start glowing green. And then all of a sudden the music starts playing. Look, I have chills. And then the mirror comes up and it's like, he's like, "Josh tomorrow, talk about the land." And he's like, "I'm not going to talk about that land."
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
He says, "I'm not going to talk about the land." And we're just like, okay, but he's leading to that it's coming out. And Rita Ora comes out and sings the song. And it's just like, no, it's happening. And everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, is he going to leave us with like a blue sky thing?" And I'm like, no, it's happening because
he said no blue sky.
But the mirror said, Josh, you have forgotten a promise that you have made."
Yes.
I mean, basically, like, you have neglected a promise that you made to the people or something like that. It was awesome the way it was put out.
I could have dealt with her performance after it, but Jen and Kyla saw the video. Yeah. The scream that I leave out the second that he announces it is louder than the scream whenever I get September. I am screaming bloody murder, like in the video, that I didn't even realize it sounded like that. Yeah. I had to edit it out because it was so insane. And if you replay it and you watch his face back right after he says it and he hears like everybody, he just starts laughing. Like he's laughing. Like, "You thought I was ending it, and here we go. I just made everybody's 10-year dream come true." And he's laughing at all of us because we all lost our mind.
I mean, so yeah, villains, 2 new attractions, shopping, dining.
And if you look at that artist rendering, there is a Maleficent coaster in that thing. There is a Maleficent coaster.
I need to look at that.
It's all of them have renderings. So I mean, they all have artist drawings. And I would advise anybody to go online and look at those pictures and kind of scope out, because Monsters Inc. There's the big building. You see some things in the background. You know, with Cars Land, you kind of see different things going on there with the track and the cars running around. And there's a Maleficent coaster in that picture. And there's a few other things, little things too.
And wait, David, go ahead.
Yes.
Say it about the Maleficent coaster. We called it.
Yes,
How many years ago?
Yes, we did.
Oh, that's right.
We designed it. We said we created a park. And I was literally like, Maleficent coaster. Like, it is an ingenious idea.
Realistically, I take obviously no credit for anything. But if I had found out later that Josh or some of the team heard our podcast, it would not shock me. Because, and I say that because Jen and I both know that there have been people I'm not saying Josh himself, but there have been people that are up the chain at Disney who have heard of our podcast and had listened to our podcast here and there. So I'm not saying he did, but it would not shock me if somebody said, "Hey, I've heard a few podcasts, including this one, and they made some suggestions. What do you think about some of these ideas?"
And he's going to be episode blah, blah, blah. I'm sure.
So now I'm going to say I take credit for that. Heather and I basically created that coaster. We manifested that gun into reality.
People, you are welcome. We created this entire park for you.
Yes, we did.
We created your shows. We created your eating venues.
People are like, we don't see Facilier at Splash Mountain, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. What happened to Facilier? Because he's in Villains. That's why. I mean, you just
and your little Ursula octopus ride that you were nostalgic about when you were a kid at your local county fair. When you see that too, you're going to be like, "Oh, they called that one as well."
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I am curious what the other ride is. What do we think? Which villain?
I need it to be my Phantasmic ride with Chernabog.
Oh my gosh. Do you understand that he is okay? So Maleficent,
he's terrifying.
My favorite.
Yes.
Chernabog is the most terrifying.
He's the most terrifying. Yeah. He's terrifying.
He's scary.
And how many
with the older kids, they are pulling them in, and all the little kids are going to be on. This is
going to be huge. And I will say this, and I mean this seriously. I do not mean this as a joke. I think Villains Land done properly will be better than anything that Epic Universe will put forth. And I say that because
100%.
People love Harry Potter. However, Ministry of Magic is going to be very basic, one attraction, and that's it. And then some Harry Potter stuff and whatever. They're going to be great coasters. It's going to be cool. But again, I go back to the fact that Universal has no foundation of history, Whereas you were appealing to young and old, and people in their 60s, people in their 20s, people in their teens, when it comes to villains and how cool, how the anti-hero, especially that we're in this anti-hero society of people loving the cool bad kid, whatever, the bad guy. That's what I think. If you do this properly, it's going to be better than anything you're going to put forth at Epic.
But
and it's
extend it out.
Massive.
You can have they can have parties that are just villains after
Halloween party at Magic Kingdom.
Yes, it's going to be an extra party there.
But I just need a moment here because I am a narcissist and I need it on film. David.
Yes.
Was I right? And did Disney come through?
Oh,
yes.
So hard for him to admit that.
He can't do it.
And no. Okay, I say yes. I say yes to that point. You and I, the way they got to it, I think we have different opinions of how they got here, but how they got here is what you said they would get to eventually. So yes, I do give you credit for that. So yeah, I don't think they were. I personally don't think they were as clear cut getting here as you think they were. I do think the last 2 years, I think the backlash they got from their D23 and Destination Ds, I don't think they were expecting it at all. I think they got backlash like they did not expect the backlash they got. And I think had they known it was going to get that, I think they would have said villains a year ago, even 2 years ago. And they would have been very careful with the blue sky label, because I think that became a dirty phrase leading up to this D23, because people are like, if I hear blue sky, I'm going January 6th on the entire thing. I mean, just people are like, do not get, which is why Josh came out and said, no blue sky. This is all real. And so I think, I don't want to say they fumbled their way through it. That's not it at all. They had some plans, but I do think they shifted and went down some very curvy, crazy roads to get here. Whereas I think you think they had a long-term plan all along.
I think they didn't reveal it on
stumbled
purpose.
a lot away here and there to get to where they are today. And I'm glad they're here. So,
But can I tell you what I think is smart too? Is that because, what a land that people are excited about in Epic is the monsters, right? Like the classic monsters and whatever, because there is a huge, I'll say cult following. That's probably not even quite the right term for it, but like the villains, I mean, more so than Frankenstein or Dracula or
I mean, Clint Smith's got sleeves of villains.
Sleeves of the villains. I mean, people came out of the woodwork for villains. This was strategically so smart to put in, and I get how I've heard people like, oh, I wish it was a fifth gate, which I do.
No, I'm not ready for that.
But we're not. I don't think.
There is no way on God's green earth they were going to do a fifth gate.
I don't think they were going to do.
They have $60 billion to allot to what they're doing, which I think is great for everything they're doing.
Maybe
a fifth gate would cost $100 billion. There's no way
be so much. But I think. But I don't even know that you could do a full park of Villa. I mean, I know you could, but I don't know that would be the play. I think this is brilliant, and hopefully there's room to expand it eventually. Like just like they might want to expand.
Where do we think it's
going? Whatever.
Where, like, I thought the entrance might be back by like Gaston's or something, leading from like princesses into villains. Like I felt like the connection. My theory is that when you go to Big Thunder now, you have basically just a dead end, pretty much.
Yeah.
My guess is going to be that if you go this way, it goes into cars. If you go that way, it goes to villains. They're going to open that up because all that water is going to be gone. It's going to be wide open space there, and I'm guessing they'll have certain entrances to cars. I don't think it's be a wide open area. And I think again, you walk into Big Thunder. There's Big Thunder. Villains is down this trail here because it can be kind of hidden. They can be like a portal or a gateway.
Oh my gosh! What if you have to walk through the elephant boneyard? Like that.
See, and I think they're going to have.
Like from Lion,
go listen to the episode
where you're walking through to get to villains. It can't just be like you're going from Liberty Square into Frontierland and things casually change. I think it has to be some sort of entrance. But with cars, I think you go this way and suddenly you're in the cars area. I mean, the junkyard or whatever they're going to call it. I don't know.
The villains thing is going to be like a tunnel or something. Yeah. It's going to be like Star Wars.
Yeah,
where it's very apparent that you are walking into like a fallen kingdom type thing. But there is a lot of land. If you drive the back way to come in, which I said this to you guys, if you're coming in past the castle, like I'm seeing the back end of the holding tanks of like Small World and stuff, the road bumps out and there's a ton of land that is right there that is not utilized, that it could also go there as well. But like once they fill in that river area and Tom Sawyer Island, that is going to give like a really big space for cars to be in. I still think it's going to go back behind there, but I mean, it could go back behind.
Yeah.
Well, we don't see what's on the other side of the river. I mean, we take the riverboat, but there's the land back there we don't see. So they could
There's
basically
a channel
just go all the way back.
There's a channel that runs
Right.
back there that they need, but they could build a bridge that goes over top of it, and then that's
The
it.
one thing I love about all of this is that I think we're all jaded by going through 4 years of Epcot with Wall right in the middle of the park and to walk all the way around to get to anywhere. And so we see walls, we're like, everything that they've talked about building is not in anybody's way. Like Monsters Inc., there's Launchway. If they shut that off, you're not going to that section. It's fine. You know, when they do what's beyond Big Thunder and Villains, whatever, that's a whole section of the park you can't get to anyway. So it's fine. It's blocked off. Tropical Americas, you'll keep going left instead of going into Dinerland. It's blocked off. It's fine. It's not in the way, not causing you.
Well, it's like Galaxy's Edge. It wasn't in our way. Other than like, it wasn't. Like you had to walk back. Like, okay, now I ran into a wall.
And I think they strategically did a lot of that because Epcot was terrible. Epcot was awful. So
well, and I understand.
But they had to do it. I get it. But
and they had to do it if they were going to take out the middle.
Right.
And COVID lengthened it by a lot. But still.
Right.
So final opinions, Kyla. What did you think that was missing?
That's actually was the question I was going to have for Kyla. Yeah.
David has asked me this 4 times, and I've answered the same every single time.
I've only asked you once. I was waiting for a better answer.
And then we zoom boomed about it. I never expected a 5th gate. That was totally Cliff. I didn't think that was like in the works at all. What I expected was maybe Mary Poppins. I mean, it was all stuff that's been rumors, but I just expected it to happen. I thought Coco was going to be an overlay on the Mexico ride. I expected Mary Poppins. I expected Villains Lands. And I thought maybe 1 or 2 countries may be announced because there's enough space back there. Right. So, and that could be out of the way. Again, it's not going to be more like tons of walls that are going to actually interfere with your day-to-day around the world trip. So that's all the stuff that I thought was going to be announced. We expected Tropical Americas, so that's like not a surprise. Obviously, Monsters Inc. and Cars, not expected at all, but it'll be fun. I'll go on the rides. Right. Great. Like my kids loved the car when they were little, not so much now. It's going to be fine. Like, it's going to be great. I just like everything I expected except for Villains, none of it happened. And I was like, maybe that's 2026.
But if they had done a Beauty and the Beast land instead of Monsters Inc. land, you could have been over the moon. You'd have been like an attraction where you ride through the library or I mean, just
I'm still mad that like who got the Beauty and the Beast ride? Tokyo.
I think.
Tokyo. So mad they got it, and we just have a sing along.
So my prediction, mark it here. This is 2024, D23, 2026, 2 years from now. A lot of things will be heavily into construction. They probably will have opening dates like, hey, probably will announce Tropical Americas opens March 2027, whatever. I think that's when they announce some work at Epcot. And I think they will bring Mary Poppins, the countries. They'll do maybe an extra ride. Maybe they'll add something to what's the space area. I don't know. Overhaul Mission Space to do something else. I think that'll be the Epcot thing in 2 years. I think that'll be like, okay, we're heavily into the other parks. A lot of them are halfway done or almost done. Let's look at Epcot and do a few things over there. Or
they won't announce anything about Disney World at all, and we'll all be disappointed.
Maybe that'll be the only thing they announce Disney World. They'll be like, Shanghai Disney, let's spend 45 minutes on all their stuff. And so, and only Heather will be like, yay.
Me, die hard. We all know. I never.
Jen, is there anything that they could have done differently? I'm assuming you're pleased with everything. Is there anything you could have done differently, or you're Mary like, Poppins. I'll take everything we got. Mary Poppins.
I wanted Mary Poppins. I wanted her back.
I can understand what they do there. There's 14 attractions coming now.
I don't think it's off the table.
I think Mary Poppins will happen, and
it's just because I love her. Like that's. Well,
it took 23 years to get Monsters Inc. So really about 2050, we're nailing Mary Poppins. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but Mary Poppins is older.
So we'll all be old too. I'll be like 75 going, I love Mary Poppins. Finally, we got it. I can't pick her back up, Kyla. My back hurts.
What did you think?
No, I thought it was great. The only thing that I was shocked when they said the Cars thing, I was like, wait a minute, where's my Moana boat ride? Because they already have the patents filed for it. And I was like, okay, so we're saving that one for like 2020, 2028, I think. I think you're going to hear Mary Poppins and Moana in 2028, because I think 2026 is going to be more about the Disneyland expansion. And I think you're going to have more concrete things about what the updates are for the things that are happening, because you're going to be halfway through construction at that point. So I think like the bigger ones are going to be in 2028, but we shall see. We shall see.
Boardwalk Bakery.
I just want to say,
Destination D next year. That's the only thing they're going to announce.
But as always, good buddy Josh came through as always, and I have said it for like the last 2 years. Me and David have fought about it 4 years at this point. And he last D23, he was like, actually, they didn't announce anything. I was like, they can't because Epic is being Epic.
They can just allude to some things and say some things to get people excited. That's all they have to do. It's all they alluded back then. No, they didn't. They never said villains. And matter of fact, whenever people during D23 people were wondering about villains, Disney never said villain. Everybody else said villains. Everybody assumed it was villains, rightly so. But Disney never came out and said, we're doing villains. Just wait. They alluded to it. They referenced it, but they never said villains. And so that's when Cars was announced. I was like, guys, they never said villains. This could be the biggest rope it up in the history of the world. But they never said
I was screaming at you on text.
And I see them and they're just yelling. They're like, no, that's not it.
Well, Kyla was out, and so she was texting me like, "What are the updates?" And I was giving her, oh, that sounds fun. What else is next? What else?
And then he was like, "What is it?" And I was delayed because we're sitting in the giant cement box, and I am typing villains because you guys are like semi-delayed behind us. And I was like, "Forget it." Like,
well, in our big chat, I wasn't going to type anything, a lot of things, because I wanted you to kind of be the one to do that because you were there. And then Meredith jumps in and she's like, "Hey, this is coming, and that's coming, and that's coming," and I'm like.
Jen knew when I was going, I was just like, this, sadly, sorry, people. I was like, I'm going for me. Like, this isn't a business thing. This is a Heather diehard fan. I need to be there in those moments.
Yeah.
Kyla had her caps lock on whenever like Cars was announced and not villains. It was just a diatribe of what are they doing? Oh my gosh, where is villains? What do you mean Cars? Cars sucks. This is just terrible. She was like, I've had a few drinks. Okay, so it was on. So.
I mean, it was just like such a shock to the system. Yeah. Cars and Monsters Inc. Like,
is that all? Is that all? Big letters. Is that all?
I was like annoyed at that time. I'm like, what the?
And that was her own chat. Your chat you saw, there was more of that. So.
Yeah. And now I wish that you were there sitting next to me because when the bracelet lit green, I mean, when I say I hit her, like I hit her. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. But it was light green. And I was like, it's villains. And I was going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then when he said it,
2026, but then I'm going to be disappointed because it's not going to be Disney World announced.
I don't think
now I have to wait till 2028.
If you guys talked to prior to us going to this, they were saying like, if there's one that you're ever going to pick to go to, like go to this one. And I was like, okay. And they were like, this one's the game changer. And they were so tight-lipped about it. And I will say that I think that this one has restored people's faith other than them complaining about the I think it's restored their faith in it, the fact that Disney is always forward looking and never give up on them. We all know I never will, but I think it's just solidified them as like the superpower forever. So y'all can go to Epic for the next 3.5 years and then I'll just I do.
I think one telling sign, and there's a guy that I follow on X Twitter, Scott Gustin. He's great when it comes to news. I don't know how he gets his news, but he's never salacious. He's never like, here's a rumor. It's like, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. And I follow a lot of his stuff. And he actually was skeptical about Monsters, Inc. And then he saw the mock-up of like the actual ride itself where you can go see whatever. And I think his tweet was something to the effect of, I was not sure about Monsters Inc. until I saw this mock-up. This looks incredible. We are so back, or something like that. And this is just my faith is being restored in Disney right now. What they're doing. So yeah. I know Kyla hates Monsters Inc. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I think it's
you can sit it out and we'll ride it.
No, I'm gonna ride. I love roller coasters. Disney doesn't have a suspended one. Obviously, it's going to be great. It's just like our family has been over Pixar for some time. It was just a surprise.
But see, that's what happens though. As the girls get older and like teenagers into college, they will get back into it. Because that's what happens with a lot of teenagers. And same thing with me. I was out of Disney for several years, and in college, we were all watching Aladdin in the college dorms. We were all watching Lion King on the big clamshells. So
yeah, they totally roped people in with Star Wars. Bella loves Star Wars. So I mean, obviously she loves Disney, but Star Wars is like her next thing because she's out of princesses. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
But that's what's great is there's so many different pockets that you can move to, but it's all within the Disney IP realm. So there's a lot.
And the entire program was the perfect example of storytelling. It
Which-
took you on highs
really
and
well.
lows and shocks, and then you thought it was
Mhm.
ending, and then it came out with like this epic ending, and it was fantastic.
Yep.
And the one thing that we skipped over, which I know we mentioned before, was when Deadpool came out, because he was like, I want an attraction,
Mhm.
and Josh was like, no, like you're not getting one. He's like, can I at least do a musical number? I mean, I personally was like, oh my gosh, NSYNC is going to take the stage, and I'm going to die right here, right now. I mean, if there was one thing that you could have done, Josh, it could have been to bring JC out on stage, but we can save it for the next time. His parody, making fun of all of us, making fun of the parks,
Mhm.
was perfection, and it just kept the whole tone like so light and funny.
Yeah.
I think it was just an excellent show.
I recommend
across
going to YouTube to find the Deadpool thing. It's great. It's
yeah.
great.
If you go back and watch, like they obviously have a lot of this posted now, so go see it. It's definitely worth it, like they said. But guys, thank you so much for hanging with us, listening to all of our rants / excitement / oh my gosh, there's like so many fun days ahead. You can see all of our handles here. Well, not mine, but whatever. Also, make sure you follow AunaStarTravel.com, at Upon Travel. Check out on Instagram. That's where a lot of us are active. And there is a whole new world of travel to discover, including because there's a whole new world of travel coming to the park.
And on the horizon.
It's on the horizon.
It's on the horizon. So don't forget, give us a call. We will help you get there. We will help you navigate through all of these things. And there are things to like, this is the time to plan to go say goodbye to your favorites or your nostalgic, loves. And then we have things to look forward to starting next year until we get the big reveal of, I'm assuming Villains is probably going to be the last one.
Right.
Probably
the next 3 to 5 years is when everything.
I would say, probably 3 to 5 years, but there's going to be a lot of leading up to it. So,
Jen, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
Exciting. It was really exciting, though. Heather's excited.
And of course, if you watch the YouTube, Heather is pretty much grinning nearly the entire time until we talk about Walt and the audio animatronic when they both get a little teary-eyed. But beyond that,
well,
I mean,
you're still smiling.
I was going to say, I think you've been grinning straight for like 3 or 4 straight days. It's such a magical thing. It's one of those like magical moments that you'll never forget. And, that's going to stick with you you're going to think about for the longest time. And, 15 years from now, you're talking to your girls going, I remember I was here and I remember it specifically. And, and we all have those magical moments. And I think it's a core memory. That's awesome.
I'm going to cry again.
So it's just cool to be in that room, especially, and as you said in the show, especially being at that particular one. It's not like you went to the one previous years where they just talked about Blue Sky, or even years before where they're like, hey, we're doing these 3 things at Disney World, and at Disneyland, here's 15 things and whatever. It's like your home park, right? Your back door, Disney World. There's all the stuff that's coming in 5 years. It's going to be a brand new place, which is fantastic. So perfect. So Jen, where can we find you online to find all the fun stuff that you have going on?
Yeah. At Upon a Star Jen, or my personal Instagram when I decide to go check it at Jen_Novotny.
Perfect. Find Kyla at DisneyGeek27 on Instagram. Of course, she's Kyla at Upon a Star Travel on Facebook. And Heather, where can we find you?
You can find me at the Moana Mom on Instagram and Facebook.
Perfect. Find me on Facebook at The Magic on a Dollar. Find me on Facebook at Magic on a Dollar and Disney on a Dollar, of course. And this is the Main Trailer School podcast. Find us at all the usual type places and Upon a Star Travel. Find us at also the usual type places as well. And hey, you got plenty of time to get to Disney World. But if you want to ride Dinoland, Dinosaur stuff, if you want to ride Tom Sawyer Island and do all the stuff there, it's time to go.
It's the time
to get that trip planned
there.
Because at literally D23, the Parks panel was Saturday night. Yesterday, which was Monday, is when they announced Rivers of America was going away. Yeah. We don't have the timetable in it. Who knows when they're going to? It could be next Tuesday. It could be February when they say, officially we're closing Dinoland on this date. You never know. So it's a good time to get there, get going.
Yeah, if you can get there sooner than later. To say goodbye to your attractions. Get it in.
And then plan for your next trip so you'll be there when some stuff opens.
That's right. So you can book a bounce back.
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
Perfect. For
2025.
For Kyla, for Heather, for Jen, I'm Dave. And hey, don't forget to thank your Phoenicians and Josh.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.